game?
No.
Relatively speaking, first day after the weekend. Relatively speaking, first day after the weekend. Mickelson Morley, it showed that the earth they don't move, huh? What they do, shorten the length of the ruler. Hey, that's just how they fooled ya. Tune in Wednesdays, bet that we gon' school ya. Mickelson Morley, it showed no displacement. Mickelson Gale Pearson, it measured rotation. Let's break it down in layman. That means the earth is stationed. No planets and spaceships, they're all animations. Relatively speaking, first day after the weekend. Relatively speaking, first day after the weekend.
Warning. The following contains scenes that globularists may find disturbing. If you are suffering from cognitive dissonance, you may experience violent, degenerate, and erratic behavior. Viewer discretion is advised.
In a world. What up, though, fam? Hope everything sounds good. Hope the audio is A1. Had to change a few things on the mic. Sorry, had a bunch of stuff happen right before the stream. That's why I'm late. It'll be okay. And I think I put it in the title, but we're going to talk about dark matter. See, we did get a super chat here. Hi, Austin. I'm a big fan of your work. You and your work. Keep it up, brother. We both came to many of the same conclusions on subjects like flat earth, Zionism, and Old Testament scripture. Who thinks Witsit and Stinky should do a stream together? Don't know who you are, but I'm down to do streams. I'm super busy nowadays. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Message my secretary. I wish. Message me on Telegram at Witsit or witsit@protonmail.com. We can try to work something out. All right. In the world. All right. We're gonna watch a video and see what's going on with this dark matter. Then, just like last week, we're going to drop the Zoom and pin it for anyone that wants to come on and explain to me how somehow the Earth does revolve around the sun in a heliocentric model. Of course, specific to flat Earth is more of Wednesdays. And then ideally it's relative to the subject, and tonight the subject is dark matter. So real quick, briefly, everyone should know what dark matter is by now, but basically the current model has a theory of gravity, and it's the theory of relativity, which says that gravity is the bending and warping of space and time. This was postulated originally in 1905 as special relativity. That's just on small infinitesimal, which just means really small, straight inertial regions. And it said that light is absolute. It's the same speed for all observers in all reference frames. That there is no such thing as an absolute reference frame. The speed of light's absolute in all reference frames, but there's no absolute reference frame. So basically the closest thing you can get measuring against something absolute is light. And that all motion is relative. So nothing in the universe is at rest, but you can't even say motion unless in relation to something else. So this helped to explain away Michelson-Morley by introducing the idea of relativistic length contraction and time dilation. Basically, they say that the Michelson-Morley apparatus contracted in the direction of motion, and it contracted just the right amount that you weren't able to measure or tell that you were moving around the sun, and at times slowed down, basically. Okay, so this evolved to general relativity in 1915. This is the current theory of gravity. Now, what they tell everyone is that gravity is mass attracting mass, and you will hear 95% of people that try to mock and ridicule you for not believing in gravity like it's a religion. Gravity, big G and little g, like big G gods, little g gods, the all-present, so the omnipresent, all-powerful force that created everything. They'll tell children it's mass attracting mass, even like first year college, high school. And so you'll hear a bunch of people saying that. Now, that is not the belief at all anymore, simply because that doesn't work. Newton said that there was an absolute frame, which was fixed space, and everything could be measured against it. And again, that objects going in a straight path will continue to do so unless an additional force or external force acts upon it to change its path. Einstein said there is no fixed space. There is no absolute reference frame at all. Nothing is absolute other than the speed of light. And that an object that is going in a straight path actually will simultaneously be going in a curved path called a geodesic, relative to different reference frames, and that it can go on this curved path without an extra force or an external force being introduced. Okay, so general relativity is the current model's belief, and it has to be, basically, because of Michelson-Morley. So all this being said, they took general relativity, they went and applied it to the sky, and they found that its predictions were grossly off, as were Newtonian mechanics. And they discovered in 1933, someone named Fritz Zwicky was looking out at distant galaxies. He saw that when he looked at the galaxy cluster, of course, just a group of galaxies, that there wasn't the right amount of mass there based on what gravity predicted. In fact, there was only relativistic prediction, or any gravity prediction for that matter, was 99% off. Simply put, there wasn't enough mass to prevent the galaxies from escaping from the clusters, right? So according to relativity, you have a certain amount of mass, certain amount of quote-unquote gravity. There's only 1% of the mass needed to prevent the galaxies from escaping the galaxy clusters. And so they needed 99% more mass than was actually there, according to their theory. And so they just plugged in something to fix the numbers, and they call that dark matter. They said that there was 99% something there. They call it dark matter now, and it's there, I promise, but we don't know what it is. We can't see it. We can't actually measure it or detect it. But we know it must be there. Our theory is wrong, and that's not even an option because, again, it is effectively a religion. Gravity is the God, the all-powerful, forever existing, omnipresent, creative force, big G and little g, that coalesced everything into its current state. And without it, everything falls apart. You dare not question it. And that was 1933. It's been almost a century. We still have the same problem. 1955, they discovered the galaxy rotational speeds were way too fast. They needed way more matter. Now, this is a reoccurring problem at this point to such an extent. If you combine dark matter and dark energy, it comprises 97%. So 96 to 97% of the known universe and their model. And, of course, 83% of all matter in the entire universe is supposedly dark matter. Again, undefined, called dark because it doesn't interact with the electromagnetic spectrum, i.e. light, material, or matter, because it has to have some type of materialistic characteristics to have mass to make up for what's missing according to gravity. So there you go. This is all just a fact. This is objectively where, quote-unquote, science, actually pseudoscience, stands today. And so we're going to kind of watch this video, go through it. Anyone that denies any of this or tries to gaslight you or mock you or anything, if you bring it up or say, well, that's how science works, that's how science works. That's not how science works. We'll use Richard Feynman, who said it pretty well, and it's very simple, and not that we needed Feynman to say it, but he is propped up in the pseudoscience world. He said, if it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. Now, this is not a scientific experiment at all, nor is it even a science. It's what people call observational science. And the etymology of science is to know, so it's the pursuit of knowledge. Sure, you can look at the sky and pursue knowledge, but when it comes to natural science, we have very specific parameters, and that's scientific experimentation, cause and effect relationships. You can't just look at something and then call that science. That's the first step of the scientific method, the naturally occurring observable phenomena. That's called your dependent variable. This is actually just made up theories and ideas and not scientific theories, mind you. So all that being said, let's look into what's going on, because you would think if I have a theory and then I have a certain prediction from that theory and it's off by 99%, I have to throw my theory out because it's wrong. But that's not what they did. It's been almost a century and it still hasn't been thrown out. But not only that, you have people running around saying relativity is the most thoroughly tested and verified theory ever. This is incredibly laughable. It is not even remotely close to working. Everyone knows this. Everyone that knows anything about it. Now, again, you will run into people that say stuff like mass attracting mass. Veteran globe model zealots. Is what it is. Now, like I said, we're going to watch this video. It's only 10 minutes long. We'll comment on it here and there. We're going to drop the Zoom link. You're welcome to come on. Please explain to me how dark matter isn't a direct refutation of relativity and the current heliocentric model. Explain to me how it is actually scientific to ignore a 99% discrepancy, sweep it under the rug, pretend it's no big deal, and then keep your theory even though the evidence directly flies in the face of it. Please explain to me how that wasn't a refutation of your theory and how somehow it's scientific to ignore it. Somehow verify dark matter, verify your blind belief in such a thing that you can't even identify or divine. And then it can, of course, progress into a conversation where, try to give me your empirical evidence that the Earth is, in fact, flying around the sun in a heliocentric model in an ever-expanding accelerative universe, accelerative expansion of the universe. So, cool. All right. There's a little intro about the subject. We're going to just watch the video. And it is very entertaining, to say the least. Commercial sound and video. Thank you for the $5 super chat, brother. Much love. I saw Ron Boston Bear $20 before the stream started. Thank you for the donation, bro. Greatly appreciated. He donated at Witsit.Live, which is the best place to donate it, as the Grabblers over at YouTube take 30%. Okay, and they should be read off once you donate. All right, now let me over here take the screen capture. Okay. Let's check it out.
Astronomers have found
This is for educational purposes under the Fair Use Act.
New evidence against the standard model of cosmology. They have discovered a theory that could replace dark matter and ultimately solve one of the biggest mysteries in astronomy. The new theory is called AQUAL and implies that dark matter may not exist at all. The researchers tweaked Newtonian gravity to fit the observations of galaxy rotation curves. Besides correcting a possible 90-year-old mistake, their results may open new windows to the fundamental understanding of gravity itself. But what happened?
I thought we knew exactly what gravity was. I thought relativity was the most tested and verified theory ever.
90 years ago?
What, a 90-year-old mistake? What? What did we just keep our theory despite the evidence for almost a century? Is that how science works?
That changed the course of cosmology? Why are physicists developing an alternative theory of gravity?
Because the theory doesn't work at all and was debunked and actually is inadmissible on its face intellectually because it's a reification fallacy.
Finally, and most importantly, how can the new idea lead us to a better understanding of the universe? Dark matter is one of the most important entities in the standard model of cosmology. It is a hypothetical form of matter believed to make up 27% of the observable universe. The problem is that dark matter does not
What was that, bro?
Dark matter is one of the most important entities in the standard model of cosmology.
And what he means is that the model doesn't work without it.
It is a hypothetical form of matter believed to...
Wait, it's a hypothetical form of matter. Believed. This is a religion. It is quite literally a religion. A belief system built upon the doctrine of men due to devout philosophical bias despite evidence.
To make up 27% of the observable universe.
And it makes up 83% of the total matter in the universe, according to their model.
The problem is that dark matter does not interact with electromagnetic radiation, making it difficult to detect directly. Instead, its existence is inferred from its gravitational effects on visible matter.
It can't be detected. Its existence, which is a hypothetical form of matter, is inferred based on its presupposed and reified interaction and cause of gravity. This is so scientific. I'm like drowning in wisdom and knowledge right now. This is profound.
Radiation and the large-scale structure of the universe. Even the standard model of particle physics doesn't contain any elementary particle representing dark matter. Although scientists are pretty confident that dark matter exists, they are still trying to understand its properties and behavior.
Wait, why are they pretty confident that something they can't define, they can't detect, and is merely hypothetical and can't even be understood, has no evidence whatsoever? How can they be all pretty sure? By the way,
Model of particle physics
model is also pseudoscience.
doesn't contain...
Believe it or not, quarks don't exist. Leptons, that's a cool story, bro. The phenomena exist. This is just made up pseudoscience.
any elementary particle representing dark matter. Although scientists are pretty confident that dark matter exists, they are still trying to understand its properties and behavior.
Even though they're pretty sure it exists, they're still trying to understand what it even is that they believe exists.
Their goal is to develop a definitive theory that explains its nature. To understand AQUAL, it's important to learn how dark matter even came into the picture. It was in 1933 when Swiss astronomer Fritz Zwicky...
By the way, I haven't even watched this video, and mind you, every time I try to explain this to ballers, they a lot of heliocentrists, they say that I made this up. So maybe you guys can pay attention to your own paradigm. You can become familiar with your religion before choosing to believe in it.
It was in 1933 when Swiss astronomer Fritz Zwicky noticed something was missing in the universe. He studied galaxy clusters and concluded that the observed mass of matter was not accounting for the total mass of the galaxy cluster found...
It's almost like exactly what I said or something.
...based on the motion of the galaxies held together by the gravitational force. He discovered this discrepancy in the Coma cluster. Zwicky first calculated the mass of the Coma cluster by studying the galaxies at its edge. He then compared it with the mass based on the brightness and the number of galaxies in the cluster. The two values didn't match. As a result, he obtained evidence for an unseen type of matter, which he called dark matter.
It didn't just not match. Funny how you left out the numbers. It was 99% off. 99% of the mass needed, according to relativity, wasn't there. 99%. Hey, quick question, man. If your theory's off by 99%, is it possible that your theory's wrong? If I have a theory in science, and then the evidence shows that my theory's prediction was off by 99%, shouldn't I throw my theory out? Doesn't that effectively render my theory useless and laughably incompetent and incorrect? How can you say relativity is the most thoroughly tested and verified, some people even say proven, but then they start pumping you with solipsism and saying nothing can be proven, when it was off by 99%. I can't even fathom how stupid that is. I have a prediction in my theory. It's about pennies, and it predicts that when you open this drawer, there's going to be 100 pennies. You open the drawer and you find 1 penny, and you're like, my theory's not wrong. Let me just change this equation real fast. Look, now there's 99 invisible pennies. It's so dumb, bro. This was 100 years ago, 90 years ago.
For an unseen type of matter, which he called dark matter. Supporting his study came American astronomer Vera Rubin's analysis of galaxy rotation curves. A galaxy rotation curve is a graph of the orbital speeds of visible stars or gas in the galaxy versus their radial distance from the center. A rotation curve for our solar system looks like this. The average rotation.
I want to point something out since we have all the heliosexuals in the chat. Just pay attention. Notice what they're not going to do. They're not going to actually acknowledge what we're discussing. Right? So one of the comments here is like, oh, leptons. Like, because I said pseudoscience, like particle physics is pseudoscience, and these leptons don't exist. The phenomenon exists, but the interpretation is pseudoscience. And then he says, leptons have to exist because as electronics require it for live streams to even exist. I'm like, yeah, that said the phenomenon is real already. But they can't address this. I can go ahead and tell you their talking point. We don't actually need them. They're NPCs, but it's entertaining. Someone can go watch the live chat and be like, whoa, I don't want to be anything like that ever. So, well, that's how science works. We don't fully understand everything. Just because we don't understand everything doesn't mean that we have to throw everything out. That's how science works. We're constantly learning and updating our understanding. We're always learning new things and figuring stuff out. That's how science works. Just because we don't understand everything. No, it's not that you don't understand everything. Your theory was off by 99%. Not everything. You didn't understand 99% of the galaxy cluster observation. 99%. Okay? But they can't acknowledge this. They can't acknowledge the implications, which is clearly that your theory is trash. It cannot be correct. It is wrong objectively. If you believe in it still, you're just a religious zealot. They can't actually acknowledge it. And once I open up the Zoom, they're not going to come on here and defend it. They're going to run away from it. It should be very telling. I think there's a word for it. It's called cognitive dissonance. It's when you cannot hold two contradictory beliefs simultaneously. It causes your brain to basically shut down. You can no longer think logically or coherently because you have two opposing beliefs existing simultaneously. Belief number one, the heliocentric model is legit, the universe model is true, it's scientific, it's proven, I know my solar system's true, I made a model when I was 12, relativity is so amazing, gravity is so amazing, Einstein's a genius, he figured it all out, relativity is the most tested and verified theory ever. Dark matter shows that it's off by an immense amount. 83% of all matter in the universe is something that can't be defined. The prediction of relativity was off by 99%. I can't. We'll call Austin names. So just pay attention to them in the chat. They won't actually address this other than saying what I just said. Oh, Witsit thinks because he found one thing that we don't understand that it's all a lie. He thinks he's smarter than all other physicists. That's how science works. We don't know everything. That's all you're going to hear. They can't actually address it with substantive specificity. It should be very telling to an intelligent and honest person.
A rotation curve for our solar system for an unseen type of matter, which he called dark matter. Supporting his study came American astronomer Vera Rubin's analysis of galaxy rotation curves. A galaxy rotation curve is a graph of the orbital speeds of visible stars or gas in the galaxy versus their radial distance from the center. A rotation curve for our solar system looks like this. The average rotational velocity of planets in their orbits around the Sun decreases as their average distance from the Sun increases.
Welcome to the Miswits, Rusty Russ. Thanks for becoming a member.
So, the farther a planet lies from the Sun, the slower it goes around it. Mathematically, their orbital speeds are inversely proportional to the square root of the radial distance from the Sun. However, Rubin and her colleague Kent Ford found that the stars in the galaxies did not obey such rules. In fact, it's the opposite. Almost all stars in the galaxies revolve around the center at increasing speed as the distance increases. They noticed that the outer regions of these galaxies were rotating at the same or increasing speed as the inner regions, which was unexpected based on the known distribution of visible matter in the galaxies. This seemed only possible if there was a significant amount of unseen matter in the galaxies. Just like
this also goes into the face of Newton's laws. The outside should be going slower, much less the same speed as the inside, much less faster. So again, we run into another problem. I told you guys this also. I don't know what year they said, if I was correct when I said 55. I know it's right around there. Same thing. They looked at the galaxy rotational speeds and like, uh-oh, look, we have another problem. Our theory's wrong again.
Wiki, they referred to it as dark matter. With time, more evidence in favor of dark matter poured in. First, in the 1980s, the observation of gravitational lensing of...
I'm going to use them to teach how incredibly stupid the belief is. This has been known for decades. None of it means Earth flat. Now, we made it very clear that this show is actually about, is the Earth in the center or is it not? Right. That's why it's called Relatively Speaking in Schooling Globers this Wednesday. We also made it very clear that they wouldn't actually address it with substantive specificity, be intellectually honest and acknowledge the problem. They'll just try to gaslight as if somehow I'm stupid because I'm capable of cognitively thinking properly and addressing the fact that this clearly doesn't work. The fact that you still blindly believe it makes me stupid. So, what does it have to do with flat Earth? Nothing. That's not what the show's about, nor is that what this subject is about that we're covering. So try that. None of the trolls or the heliocentrists will actually respond. It should be. I just want the people at home watching this to really take this in. If you're like on the fence, you're just now researching this. I know we have a lot of new people coming to the stream. Just really think about this. The people that are devoted to following my channel around and obsessed with this, right? They can't even acknowledge it. It's like, hey, here's a video of your wife. She's cheating on you. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. My wife wouldn't cheat on me. There's no way. You're stupid. You're so stupid. I pay my wife's bills. She wouldn't cheat on me. You're so stupid. We've known that her location was saying she was somewhere she hasn't been for years. It's been known for decades. Doesn't mean she's cheating on me. Well, it does though, bro. Like, here, just check out the video. You're stupid. It's like weird. It's like textbook cognitive dissonance. You can't even look at it. Like, think about what's going on in your mind right now. Okay. So, anyway, just pointing out, again, they can't actually address it. It's just like, this has been known for decades. That's my point. That's literally my point. This has been known for decades, and it debunks the model, and it's been ignored for almost a century. This has been known for decades. Exactly. Thank you. That's the whole point. Like, it's really wild to observe it, but I think it's good for other people to see. Like, bro, this heliocentric spell renders you so retarded, you should really step back and think about what's going on.
Background objects by galaxy clusters supported the presence of dark matter. Then, in the 1990s, measurements of the cosmic microwave background and the large-scale structure formation of the universe hinted that something like dark matter must exist in the universe. Specifically, these observations showed that the universe is much more clumpy and filamentous than one would expect if it were composed of visible matter alone. Although the concept of dark matter is strongly established in modern cosmology, there's a big problem. Scientists are not sure what comprises dark matter. As stated earlier, there's no elementary particle in the standard model that makes up dark matter.
Dude, I just gotta say, like, imagine saying it's been known for a long time, this is well known, is a rebuttal. That's the whole point, dude. I gotta say, The heliocentric model is a religion. There is nothing that can falsify it because it's your religion. So even though your prediction was off by 99% almost a century ago, you cling on to it, can't even explain it to this day, a century later. Your theory is grossly wrong, and you have to hold on to the belief because you have to believe that the earth is insignificant so you can be a moral degenerate. And that's weird. And just think about this. I'm like, yo, your theory didn't work like a century ago, bro. It doesn't work. It's off by 99%. We've known about this for a long time. That's my whole point. This is all. Everyone knows this. This has been known forever. That's literally my point, though. Like, that's crazy that you don't get it.
The hunt for such particles is still going on. Several candidates for dark matter have been proposed, including weakly interacting massive particles, massive compact halo objects, exions, and sterile neutrinos. Scientists continue to search for dark matter particles at the Large Hadron Collider. Through experiments such as CREST, LUX, Zeppelin, the Exion Dark Matter Experiment, the Xenon Dark Matter Experiment, and the dark matter maps from the Dark Energy Survey. But so far, all these experiments have returned empty-handed. So naturally, one would think, what if there is no dark matter at all? What if this is a flaw in our understanding of gravity itself? Many teams of researchers are on a quest to find alternatives to dark matter. One such alternative is called the Modified Newtonian Dynamics, or MOND. It involves the modification of Newtonian gravity to apply to the galaxy rotation curves. Since Newton's laws are highly tested and valid for high acceleration systems like the solar system, MOND, proposed by Mordechai Milgram in 1983, took a step towards a modified gravitational force law for an extremely low acceleration environment. This theory assumes a threshold acceleration below which there is a transition from Newtonian dynamics.
Give me a second. I'm going to just play this video for a second. I got to step away for a sec.
Greatest scientist to have ever lived, has been described as the supreme genius and most enigmatic character in the history of science. He's known for his three greatest contributions: the nature of white light, calculus, and perhaps the most important of all, the theory of universal gravitation. For years, this theory has been widely accepted as a pure fact, forming the base for many studies and other related theories on the same. But now, physicists claim that it's time to ditch Newton's theory in favor of a new theory of gravity. Welcome to Factnominal, and in today's video, we take a close look at the theory that some physicists believe should replace our current theory of gravity, and why. Legend has it that in 1665, Sir Isaac Newton, an English physicist and mathematician, observed an apple fall from a tree, prompting him to ask what is probably one of the most important questions ever asked. Why did the apple fall towards the ground? Why not sideways or even upwards? Well, he stayed at the family farm between the years 1665 and 1666, when the bubonic plague struck England. The chance observation in the family apple orchard led him to discover that gravity is a universal force. Not only did it apply to things like apples falling to the ground, but he also applied the same theory to understand the planetary system, the moon, the sun, and beyond. He compared the straight path of the apple falling towards the ground to the curved path of a fired cannonball. He wondered what would happen if the cannonball were to go faster and faster, coming to the conclusion that it would eventually fall around the curve of the Earth forever and never really hit the ground. It is this falling forever motion that describes the movement of the moon around the Earth and the Earth around the sun. Thus was born the theory of gravity. Though there had been others who had thought about it way before him, Sir Isaac Newton was the first person to ever create and publish a comprehensive theory of gravity that applied to all objects, large and small. Being an excellent mathematician, he applied mathematical equations to support the same that were way ahead of their time. Gravitation is the force of attraction that pulls any two bodies towards each other. All objects in the universe attract each other with a certain amount of force, some with far greater force and some with a force that's either too weak or negligible. According to Newton's law of gravitation, every object in the universe attracts every other object, such that the force exerted will be proportional to the product of the masses and inverse of proportional to the square of the distance between the two. His thorough calculations and studies showed that gravitational force is a central, universal, mutual, and mass-dependent force that's independent of the medium and the surrounding environment. Up until then, no other study on gravity or explanation of planetary systems and orbits had ever been given. So, even though there would be criticism and newer, better calculations of the same theory in the years to come, from the likes of Albert Einstein, for example, until that happened, Newton's theory of gravitation was taken as gospel. As groundbreaking and revolutionary as Newton's theory of gravitation was, of course, it was far from perfect. There were some inherent problems with his calculations which did leave some room for doubts. With the help of Newton's laws of physics, we can easily model the motions of the planets in the solar system quite accurately. However, during the 1970s is when scientists happened to hit a roadblock. They discovered that these laws didn't quite work when it came to disk galaxies. What was happening here is that the stars at their outer edges were moving much faster than what was predicted by Newton's theory, since they were so far from the gravitational force of all the matter at their center. When it comes to the planet Mercury, it was observed that Newton's laws couldn't quite predict its motion accurately. Mercury has something called a precession, meaning its orbit around the Sun varies slightly every time that it goes around the Sun. The shift in its orbit is much more severe than what had been predicted by Newton's laws. No one was quite able to explain why. In 1859, French mathematician Urbain Le Verrier offered what could be a possible solution. He suggested that it's quite possible astronomers may have missed out on something, which wasn't too far-fetched of an idea. After all, it was Le Verrier who himself noticed the oddities in the orbit of Uranus, and through closer study of the variations, actually deduced the existence of Neptune. So perhaps he was on to something yet again. He suggested that the odd motion of Mercury could be attributed to something called dark matter. He claimed—
Okay, sorry, I had to help with Aaliyah for a sec. Okay, I know that was painful because I was listening to that. Well, let's come back over here.
To Mond regimes. Based on this idea, a generalized theory was constructed by Milgram and Jacob Bekenstein in 1984. It's called A-qual, which stands for A-quadratic Lagrangian. This theory modified Newtonian gravity by changing the classical Lagrangian to a Lagrangian involving a general function and the threshold acceleration term.
Okay, so believe it or not, if they're having to go back to a Newtonian framework and update it with a modified Newtonian dynamic art theory, I don't think relativity is the most thoroughly tested and verified and proven theory ever, is it? No, it's not. And by the way, the modified Newtonian dynamic theories don't work either. They don't work either. They don't work for many reasons in many areas. It doesn't work. You just shift the goalpost over and over. You can't even get your model to work theoretically, not even sort of, kind of. So all the people that say, oh, where's your math? Where's your math? You can't even show the math. Your model has had centuries of people trying to explain it purely with math, and it still can't get the math to work. In fact, a geocentric model works perfect. It doesn't have the dark matter or dark energy problem. I'm going to drop the zoom in here. I'm going to pin it. Please come on here and enlighten me how the geocentric model, any of them, is not significantly more viable than a heliocentric model if it doesn't have the dark matter, dark energy problem that you still to this day can't explain it at all. It's so hilariously stupid.
That it was due to a mystery planet called Vulcan that was throwing
Science.
off the precession of Mercury, and because of its extreme proximity to the sun, we weren't able to actually see it in the sky. The problem is, though, astronomers were never able to find this so-called planet. Leverrier, too, was unable to explain Mercury's strange orbit. But
And by the way, we'll cover this on another stream in the future, but the narrative is that, and dude, you talk to PhD astronomers, they'll say this until you correct them, and then they'll just breeze past it. Like, just so you guys know, if you're having a debate or discussing a conversation or subject, and you make a claim and it's proven to not be true, you don't just pretend it didn't happen and change the subject to something else. You don't shift the burden over to something else. You don't make up a straw man, divert to it with via a red herring, and pretend that somehow you still win the debate. And this is what everyone that defends the heliocentric model has to do. Oh, parallax proves the Earth is going around the sun. No, it's not. Here's why it doesn't. How do you not fall off of your stupid disk? It's like every single time. So someone will claim relativity predicted Mercury's perihelion shift. That's how we know it's correct. It didn't predict anything. Mercury's anomalous perihelion shift or precession was actually observed 4 decades before relativity was postulated. Einstein knew he had to try to integrate an explanation for it mathematically because it was observed 4 decades before that. Einstein's theory of relativity predicted Mercury's perihelion shift. It did not predict it, though, because it came 4 decades after. And it didn't even work. To this day, it doesn't fully explain it. Even mathematically, he had to add imaginary numbers, use the Schwarzschild equation, which is not how you pronounce it. And it still doesn't work. It's called Mercury's anomaly. They've come up with the Kerr metric and then a variation of that to try to explain it with all kinds of ideas. Oh, it must be that the sun, if you change the charge of the sun, the size of the sun, and make it more of a black body and blah, 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 doesn't work, doesn't match the model, doesn't match the data, doesn't match any of the other parameters that you have to have for your model. To this day, your model can't explain Mercury. To this day. That's a fact. So Einstein didn't predict anything when it comes to Mercury, and it still can't explain it. And I will bury that in a stream coming soon. But you will hear from everyone, because in pop sci articles to the mainstream layman, just like they tell people mass attracts mass, they tell people that Einstein's theory of relativity predicted Mercury's perihelion shift. It predicted Mercury's anomalous movement. That's how we know relativity is true. They'll also tell you that in 1919, the Arthur Eddington experiment working with Einstein proved relativity was true because it predicted a star being seen around the sun during an eclipse. But in reality, if you look at it, there were 35 plates that were used to try to measure this. Only 2 of them, of the 35, even got remotely close to matching relativity. Those 2 still didn't match relativity. They had to fudge the numbers, and admittedly, it's not even precise enough to measure what they were trying to measure. 2 of the 35 were even remotely close to matching it, and they will tell you that relativity was verified with the Eddington experiment in 1919. Relativity was verified because of Mercury's perihelion shift was predicted by relativity. These are 2 grossly misrepresented lies. Why? Why do you have to lie so much? Because you're defending a lie.
Soon enough, that mystery was solved with Einstein's theory of general relativity.
Look, never even seen the video, and I knew what it was about to do. And it wasn't solved. To this day, it's called the Mercury anomaly. It's still not explained. It's so funny, bro.
He showed that mass warps space. This warping wouldn't exactly...
He didn't show anything. Wait, here's something that ballers don't ever think about or know anything about. So you know how they always give you just a picture right here? They'll show you fabric, and they'll put a ball in the middle, and they'll drop another ball, and it'll move around, right? What you guys don't seem to get is, where's the downward vector coming from to make it be down? Why is it moving down in the gravity well to go in a circle? Where's the vector at that makes it go down? Because if you just have a bunch of space-time, you have to have a vector. Where's the vector? What, you guys just always give this little cartoon to people as if there's, why is it down? Why isn't it omnidirectional? Well, if there's equal and opposite direction with omnidirectional bending and warping, then it would equal out and straighten out. There's equal and opposite reaction with the curvature, it will straighten out. By the way, you can, oh, Witsit thinks he's smarter than all physicists, and this is such a... You'll never get an answer. Go ask any of the smartest physicists in the world that think they know all about relativity. Ask them, if there's an equal and opposite reaction of the bending and warping of space-time, why doesn't it straighten out? How come whenever it's depicted with any type of demonstration or explanation, it always just assumes a downward vector when it should be omnidirectional? If this is going down relative to the sun, where's the downward vector coming from? Why is it going down? Why is it ducking down, dipping down? It's so stupid.
Affect those planets that are far away from the sun, but for Mercury, being in such proximity, would experience its strange precession. One simple way to visualize what's happening with Mercury's orbit is to think of it as rolling a penny along a surface that suddenly curves. As the penny goes around that curve, it changes its speed and course. But if you're unable to see the curve, it would seem as if the penny took an inexplicable turn on its own. Thus,
but why is it curving in? Why is that depicting it being down, though? Why is it curving with this relative to this being down? Because it's omnidirectional. If something's bending, it's going up and down. In fact, it says it goes up and down, which would be effectively vibration. And so if there is a fabric in the background that's vibrational, you're basically just saying ether, but claiming that it's not an ether, that it's not substantive, that it doesn't have substance-like qualities, and that it's just concepts. It's hilarious. Whenever people say this is the most verified and proven theory ever, it's hilarious because it's actually so incredibly stupid and fallacious, it doesn't even get to first base, bro.
An inexplicable turn on its own. Thus, Einstein put a rest to the mystery of Mercury's orbit, boiling it down to simply being an error in Newton's calculations that didn't make room for such an exception. But
and relativistic math still doesn't work, and he had to put imaginary numbers in the denominators of like equation 7 and 8. I had to use a Schwarzschild equation, which assumes a massless path, and it still doesn't work. It's called Mercury's anomaly. That's where they come up with a Kerr metric and then the variation of that. They say there might be another planet out there in our solar system somewhere, or maybe the sun is, let's just pretend the sun's a big, gigantic black body with a lot more charge than our model says it is, and none of it works.
Does this mean that dark matter doesn't exist at all? Turns out, what we've theorized as the halo of dark matter that surrounds the galaxy, much like the planet Vulcan, could simply be a figment of our imagination. It also raises the question, could it also be that Einstein's general relativity has a flaw? This school of thought has actually been present among many scientists and physicists for years.
Dude said, it's towards, not down. A pit can only go so far. No, you mean your physical demonstrations can also only go so far. So if it's actually going towards it, that means it's because there is a gravity well. So where is the vector coming from? Dude, this is what I'm saying. This is far outside of the scripts that these people have been fed to repeat at a really remedial level. So they just like, due to cognitive dissonance, they have to assume I'm stupid. I'm stupid because they've never thought of this. They can't think for themselves. They never had like a 5-year-old answer crafted for them. Mass attracts mass. Just repeat that. Mass attracts mass. Just keep saying mass attracts mass. Okay. Well, we stick to the ball. There's a force that pushes down. Mass attracts mass. Okay. Like they don't have an answer for this because they don't even know how to think. But it's okay. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying your belief system is rendering your argument stupid. Okay. You need to step back and try to use your brain for a second. Now, if there's a gravity well and things are basically falling in a geodesic path around other planets or bodies, okay, then there has to be a vector. If you don't have a vector, then it's just flat. So the fabric of space-time is just flat, then it's not bending and warping, and it's not bending towards the mass. You don't understand your own belief system. It's bending down relative to the mass, or in some vector, so that you get a gravity well. It does. The space-time is flat. It doesn't bend towards the object, thus making it go around it. There has to be a vector to bend it, or to warp it, or to give it direction. This is a fact. And I know the answer for your model because it's common sense what your answer would have to be. But you guys don't, because you say stuff like, it's not down, it's towards. There is no vector, it's just toward. Towards what? What does that mean, towards? Where's the vector coming from? What's the initial primary vector? It's hilarious. I'm giving you guys questions that will shut up any physicist, pretty much. Don't believe me, just get some people with credentials to come on in the field, and we'll see how it goes. I'm about to drop the Zoom link in just a second. Let's finish this up.
Now, a growing number of physicists are convinced that it's time to do away with the older theories of gravity and replace them with a newer, more modified one.
But wait, why? Because all the people on the internet claim that we're stupid for saying that it doesn't work and it's the most verified theory ever. Why are all the physicists convinced that we have to replace it and do away with it? That's weird. Someone's lying.
Newton's laws of physics and theory of gravitation have some minor inaccuracies that don't...
It's not a minor inaccuracy if 83% of the matter in the entire universe is unaccounted for with your current gravity model. So when you look at the galaxy cluster, it's off by 99% the mass prediction. That's not a minor discrepancy when 97% of the entire universe is not accounted for, nor defined, nor predicted with your theory, nor works with your theory, but rather directly contradicts it, as it claims there's nothing more than space and time, yet somehow you need 83% of the matter to be something else that's not identified or predicted in any way. I don't think a 99% discrepancy is a minor problem. Oh, it's minor. That's why it was off by 99% of his prediction.
Quite explain everything, but even the slightest bit of inaccuracy or error is a major cause for concern. It brings to question
a minor problem, the slightest bit of inaccuracy. It was off by 99% though.
Whether the theory is as applicable across the board as was once thought. Physicists have now been arguing for an alternative explanation of gravity, one which requires no dark matter for its explanation and seems to be a considerably better theory. It's able to account for evidence at a wide variety of scales as compared to the ones that have preceded it so far. In 1983, Israeli physicist Mordechai Milgram initiated a new research program in cosmology called Modified Newtonian Dynamics, or Milgramian Dynamics, or simply put, MOND. In a series of 3 papers, Milgram proposed a set of postulates describing how Newton's laws of gravity and motion should be changed in regimes of very low acceleration. The postulates were designed to explain the asymptotic flatness of galaxy rotation curves without ever needing to prove the existence of dark matter for the same. He was successfully able to show that a number of other predictions follow from his 3 postulates, and he proposed these predictions as tests of the theory. So, what is MOND all about? MOND's main hypothesis states that gravity begins to behave differently from Newtonian physics when it becomes extremely weak as it occurs at the edges of galaxies.
And it doesn't actually even work for the spirals or the galaxy rotations or the clusters. It actually doesn't work, and I have a paper showing that. So anyway, this is just to demonstrate, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the Zoom link. Let me kind of explain this. So when people pretend that they're like, mass attracts mass, bro, you are over a century years out of the loop, okay? You can't say mass attracting mass. It doesn't work, okay? And by the way, that's not even a definition. What does that mean? What's the physical mechanism? Mass attracts mass. What does that mean? Like, just like this matter intrinsically is attracting this matter? What does that mean? That's not a physical mechanism. What's the physical mechanism? It was never even proposed by Newton, okay? But this is long gone by now. This has nothing to do with the current model. So then you have Einstein, and like we've just discussed, it was incredibly wrong, laughably stupid and wrong. Okay, it's retarded. This was 90 years ago. Again, if you have a theory and your theory makes a prediction, you go look at the observation and your theory is off by 99%. your theory's not just wrong, it was like grossly incorrect and laughably not viable. Okay. I don't know why I have to keep repeating that. Like, it's like people can't hear it or something. It's like just bouncing off of their head or something. Like, it's weird. But that's why they're proposing things like modified Newtonian dynamics. Not Massachusetts mass from 1600. Modified Newtonian dynamics after relativity didn't work either. And by the way, the modified Newtonian dynamics also doesn't work. So like, oh, we just want to pick and choose Newtonian and then just make up a new type based on observations, but we can't explain it, can't give you physical demonstrations or experiments, still can't define any of it, can't even explain what gravity itself is. We're just going to say, well, since we've seen all these discrepancies for a century now, we can change the model, add to Newtonian dynamics a whole new subsection that says, oh, well, in certain scenarios, it acts differently. How so? Well, because here's the mathematical difference from what we initially predicted. Now let's put that in there. And now it works or something. Like, you didn't explain anything. You have no experiments, no tests, anything. And it still doesn't even work mathematically. Modified Newtonian dynamics does not work mathematically either. That's weird, huh? So, like, let's pull the veil back here. Okay? You guys, when you say you don't even have a model, first of all, the geocentric model is significantly more viable. It doesn't have the dark matter or dark energy problem. According to both Einsteinian and Newtonian dynamics, there's a kinematic and dynamic equivalence, but there's no dark matter, dark energy problem for a geocentric model, which means it's 96% more viable at the least. It doesn't have the dark matter nor the dark energy problem. There's no accelerative expansion in a geocentric universe. Thus, there's no need to have an immense amount of unidentified and undetected energy that's causing this accelerative expansion. There goes the dark energy problem. You don't need to explain why the galaxy rotational speeds are much faster. It's because everything is moving with an immense amount of angular momentum relative to the Earth, and there is no absolute speed of light. There is no speed limit to anything in the cosmos. None of that's real. There is an absolute frame of reference, right? And everything that you say is just ridiculous. Like, everything that you have imposed onto the understanding of the sky is why you feel like there needs to be dark matter, because you can't explain it with your current theory. We don't need that theory. We don't have the dark matter problem. Everything just moves at the speed it does relative to its position in the Earth and the entire cosmos and its size, whatever that is. You know, obviously it's much more local, finite, and dense if we're going to be real about it here. But anyway, we don't have the dark matter, dark energy problem if we go with the geocentric model. You can't explain or even define your fix, your mathematical fix, for almost a century now. Okay, so I'm going to drop the Zoom link. If someone wants to explain to me how this isn't a direct refutation of your entire model, I would love to hear it, because what we've just demonstrated, for anyone that's intellectually honest, is you guys don't even have a working theory in idea, like in ideal. Like, in idealized situations, you can't even explain to me what's going on. If you just say, well, we can't prove any of it, but look at my math, you can't even show the math working. You literally had to make something up to fix it. Dude, I don't even know how people don't see this. They're like, oh, well, this is one of those things that people don't get, dark matter and dark energy. It's just how science works. Dude, it completely destroys the entire model. Cricket invasion income, yeah, they're not going to even probably jump on, because they can't defend this. And again, because I already called out what they're going to say. And let me grab the Zoom, but just so you know, this is what they're going to say if they do jump on. They're going to say they don't want to talk about it, they don't know anything about it. Or they're going to say, that's how science works. How does this prove the Earth's flat? They're going to say people have known about this. Just because just because one thing's off doesn't mean that the whole model's wrong. It's not one thing's off. 83% of all matter in the universe, all throughout it, doesn't match your prediction. 99% discrepancy with the galaxy clusters. Galaxy rotational speeds were way too fast. All over the whole entire cosmos, it's wrong. Not just one thing. But they will just say that. They will just say those talking points because, I mean, what else are they going to say? So we'll see. We'll see if anyone comes on here and is able to defend the heliocentric model, give us exclusive evidence that the Earth moves around the sun, give us exclusive evidence that this thing called dark matter is even somehow a real thing, and somehow explain to us how it's not a direct refutation of the heliocentric model, and how it doesn't mean that the geocentric model is significantly more viable. And I want answers. I don't want to hear this like shift the burden of proof nonsense fallacies. All right, there's the Zoom link. I'm going to pin the message at the top. Let's watch a couple more minutes while we hope someone jumps in here.
The currently accepted cosmology model is the lambda cold dark matter model, or the LCDM model. Let's understand how it's different from the AQUAL hypothesis. There are two important parts of every galaxy's rotation curve. The inner one, which is a rising curve, and the outer one, which is slightly increasing or almost saturated. These parts correspond to the motion of stars in the inner and outer regions of the galaxies. Since the LCDM model attributes the galaxy rotation curves to the presence of dark matter, the distribution of matter should account for both the inner and outer portions of the rotation curve. On the other hand, AQUAL asserts that the transition caused by the galaxy dynamics accounts for the difference between the inner and outer portion of the rotation curve. The small kink in the curve is due to the slight change in the velocity distribution between the inner and outer stellar motions. That's how the LCDM and AQUAL models differ. Now this is where the new study by K.H. Che comes in. It chiefly focuses on how differently modified gravity and dark matter explain the inner and outer proportions of the rotation curves.
But you again just invoke dark matter? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
He studied 152 galaxies observed in the Spitzer photometry and accurate rotation curves, or the SPARC database. He aimed to determine the theoretical possibilities of distinguishing dark matter and modified gravity.
Guys, go look at my last modern day debate and you're going to see dozens and dozens of people talking about how stupid I am, how easy it is to debate me, how easy it is to disprove me, type all kinds of straw mans all throughout the comments, all throughout the chats. Why can't you guys jump on and debate me then? It's just me. Make it 10v1. You're in the chats. You're always in my comments. You're at every modern day debate. Why can't you guys come on and debate me live? You know why? Because you can't run away. You can't interrupt. You can't scream a bunch of fallacies. You don't have the luxury of misrepresenting my conversation or my points behind the keyboard where no one can call you out or has to take time to type it all out just so you'll ignore it. If you come on the show, you're going to get dunked on. That's why. That they are terrified to jump on the show. We're going to have to find a way to almost like offer prizes or something because they can't come on here. They can't. It should be very telling. I can't even get... Dude, there's so many physicists that originally agreed to come on the show. They're like all backing out because they saw the first two shows. None of these people will jump on here and actually debate it. Get all your buddies, come in here 5v1, 10v1. What's going on? Why can you not come on? And again, the first question is, can you give us exclusive evidence that the Earth moves around the sun? Very simple. I'm going to watch a couple more minutes, let some people get in, and then I'll bring them on. Oh, yeah.
To do so, Che studied the statistical relation between the observed centripetal acceleration of particles in motion and the expected Newtonian acceleration from the distribution of baryonic matter in the galaxies. The baryonic matter corresponds to stars and dust. The dark matter model showed a larger scatter than the SPARC data. The SPARC data of 152 galaxies considered in this paper supported AQUAL better than the LCDM model. He noticed that only under the application of cosmic mean external field did the AQUAL modified gravity predict correctly both inner and the outer parts of the rotation curves. This study has presented a detailed analysis of AQUAL and its potential to provide new insights into the nature of gravity. Although the results are exciting, AQUAL has its own drawbacks, as it cannot thoroughly explain the observed gravitational lensing by galaxies. But this study is a step towards understanding the theory's pros. It's possible that just by tweaking Newtonian gravity, we can solve one of the biggest puzzles in cosmology and astrophysics.
But you actually can't. It doesn't work, and that's a cool story. Okay, so we have someone that jumped on. I don't know where they stand, but let me add them, and then we will get started. Again, the Zoom link to join is pinned at the top. So anyone that thinks the heliocentric model is real, please feel free to come on and let us know how that's the case. Let me share the Zoom. Give me just a second. All right, give me like 2 minutes. I gotta step away real fast again, but I'm about to play this song and then we'll keep going. Hey, Aaron, wait a second, man. Yeah, wait a second. I'm bringing you on. I'm about to play my song just because I have to step away for just a second. So it'll be like 2 minutes. Guys, jump in, and then we'll be we're gonna start the conversations on Zoom. Okay, let's transition and play. Let's play this. Where's it at? Where's it at? Took the people's signature, and that means extorted it. All right. The reverb going? I don't know why. Maybe I had the desktop on. I don't remember. Sorry. Echo was Zoom. Yeah, my bad for the echo. All right. I think your name is Arian. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but what's going on, bro? You there? Oh, he didn't even hear me. Hey, bro, what's going on? Are you there? Arian. Very anticlimactic. I'm going to drop the Zoom again. Copy invite link, dropping it in the chat. Aaron, are you present? Okay. Very exciting. All right, maybe we'll do what we did last time and just like freestyle it. Yeah, I might start freestyle until they come on. It worked last time. I made them come on. All right. All right, give me just a second because I hear Leah's crying again. Let me just help with her with the magic touch real fast. So I'm gonna play the I'll play the song again just because.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but give me just a second. Give me just a second, bro, to like work with my baby for. I need 2 minutes. All right, sorry about this. I'm gonna go back over here. End of the stream.
That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force them as simple that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, that mean extorted it. They forging it, if news anchors informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this, we porting ships, important gifts, of course it is. What extortion is in accordance pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?
Okay, sorry. You might just have to hear Leah. She's like fussing right now for some reason. All right, Aaron, what's going on, bro? Are you there? You're really low. Is there any way you can get closer to your mic or turn yourself up or something? You're okay. You're just a little low. Can you like get closer to your mic or turn anything up by chance? Now you sound way better. Yep.
Am I live right now?
Yes.
Or it's just okay? So yeah, first I want to tell that the space-time bending is not demonstrated as the old experiment where they put a heavy ball in middle of like what we say a sheet. That is not demonstrated like that.
How's it demonstrated?
Like if you search ask ETHAN, is space-time really a fabric? Then you will get a GIF on Google's images.
Okay, all the images show a downward gravity well.
Yeah, it's like a box, and when a heavy object moves, then it curves all towards it. It's like that.
Yeah. Okay. So it always shows a downward gravity well. I saw M Stone was here, but I guess he ran away. But
Yeah.
Aaron, the question really is, if relativity made the prediction that there should be a certain amount of mass for the galaxies to not escape the clusters, and only 1% of the mass that relativity predicted was there, doesn't that debunk the theory?
Yeah, I also have some doubts regarding that theory that you just named Eddington, right? In 1919, in May 1919, when he did, he was also a friend of Einstein, right? And when he did the observations of stars that was behind the behind the sun at the time of solar eclipse. Do you know, Witsit, maybe you know, we cannot see the stars at the time of solar eclipse. Do you know that? And no one ever seen any stars during a solar eclipse. You cannot take a picture, not video, not with the eyes. You cannot see, stars are not visible. The sky is totally black. You can see planets sometimes, but not stars.
Yeah, so it was like deceptive.
Yeah.
Why do they have to lie?
Yeah, I think this thing was made up in 1919 because I have seen so many raw footage of solar eclipses, partial, total, and even by my eyes I have observed solar eclipse. We cannot see, even in total eclipse, we cannot see any stars behind the sun. Stars are not visible, and this is a rule, I think, that stars only visible when sun is there in the sky. So when sun is there at the times of solar eclipse, sun is there in the sky, so we cannot see the stars. Stars are only a phenomena of night. So yeah, I am also a kind of flat earther because I watch Sharon a lot and I have seen you in Blowbusters. So I am new to you, but yeah, you also do amazing work.
Yeah, thank you, man. But, this is what's weird, right? So what Einstein said actually was it was a test of the theory, and if you don't see the stars, then his theory's wrong. Right. And so then they went out and they didn't see the stars and they lied. And now they tell everyone that the Eddington experiment proved that relativity is true. And when you look into it, they had 35 plates. They only invoked 2 of the plates. They ignored the other 33 of them. And then they fudged the
Yeah.
numbers around. And Eddington himself wrote about how they fudged the numbers around and it didn't work and that it was a serious problem for relativity. But now they tell everyone that relativity was proven in 1919 and no one's ever seen it since then.
Yeah.
No one's ever been able to see it since then. It's 2023. Weird.
No, but how it is possible? Like, if the relativity is wrong, then the whole cosmic model is based on relativity today. So how it is possible? Like, there are so many universities all around the world, and there are scientists. So why they are not raising their voice? If it is that wrong, then they also know that. So it's weird. Like, it's not believable. Like, I go on YouTube and I have to believe that because there are big universities, and you also make sense. I'm not saying that, oh, you are saying some weird thing. Yeah, there are so many people who questions relativity, but relativity is a established model today, and we cannot touch that. It's like that.
Yeah, but that's what, like, it's like a religion. So like you're not allowed to go against the model, but that's not science. I mean, science is if you have a theory and then you go look at the evidence and the evidence goes against your theory sucks. You need to throw it out. It's wrong. That's science. But that's
Yeah,
not
but
what they do.
what about the evidences they show regarding relativity? Like the times are different. Time is different at different places. Like, they have to uh, sync the clocks. When they move a clock very up high in the sky, then it goes faster in time, and
Yeah.
they used to do that. So it's okay.
Yeah, so I did a stream on
Mhm.
that actually, but yeah, so you're talking about atomic clocks and how they claim that when you put them at different heights and go to different directions, that it shows that time slows down, but it doesn't though.
Yeah.
Atomic clocks
Even we move
use
that,
they use
and
cesium.
yeah, yeah.
They use cesium. They send it through a magnetic field. They hit it with, and then they try to quantify the spin states of the cesium atoms, which spins, vibrational resonance, directional vibrational resonance that can be quantified. And
Yeah.
cesium atoms is a concept, it doesn't matter. So they send it through magnetic fields, and then they hit it with microwave radiation, and they have a number of times they think it's supposed to effectively vibrate or spin. And it's like 9 billion times per second. And when it doesn't match the number, what do? The atomic clocks are made to change the microwave just to make it as if it does work. And anyway, so what they're showing is that mechanism, which uses cesium, it uses microwaves, and it uses magnetic fields, that it reads differently when you go higher up. Well, yeah, you go higher up within a magnetic field. So why don't they count for magnetic fields when their entire mechanism is based on magnetic fields, microwave, which is electromagnetic radiation, right? And cesium, which is known for its oscillation relative to electromagnetic frequencies. That's why it's used. So they don't even account for the number one physical variable that would affect that clock. But then they tell me that time, a concept, slowed down because of it, and it actually doesn't even match the predictions. So I did a stream on that. I showed the original experiment, quote unquote, and it was above and below the prediction all over the place, plus and minus 7, 8, 9, up and down, both directions, all different altitudes on the planes. It didn't match the predictions at all. So it's another one of those things. It's just like the Eddington experiment. They said it matched relativity's prediction. It didn't.
Yeah.
That's not real. They said the atomic clocks matched prediction. Well, it sounds good if you just hear it. It's like Einstein predicted stars would be seen around the eclipse. Oh my God, they went out there and saw it. Doesn't that verify relativity? Well, that didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with atomic clocks. So and none of that even matters, bro, because you're basically your rebuttal, and I'm talking a lot, so I'm gonna let you talk a while, right? But I'm just saying, basically what your rebuttal was is like, well, what about the stuff where it looks like relativity does work? That doesn't even matter. If I have a theory that says everything is made up of pixie fairy dust and that it's electromagnetic, and I can show a bunch of stuff that is electromagnetic, that doesn't mean my theory's right. If you can, basically Newton's theory works for a lot of stuff too, right? But Newton's theory and Einstein's theory can't both be right. So the fact that it works somewhere doesn't mean that it's right. But anyway, you can go ahead. But atomic clocks is also another lie. It's another lie that they tell people. which is weird.
Yeah. So what about speed of light? Like it's not a lie. Like speed of light is true according to you? Like to like
Yeah.
the
So I
speed
think the
of light
speed of
is true.
I think the speed of light is relatively consistent. Like the one-way speed of light has never been measured. I don't actually believe that light travels from point to point, so I don't believe it has a speed in the sense of
Yeah.
distance over
Even
time.
if you have watched the video of Veritasium, that is a very famous video. Like no one has ever measured this one-way speed of light. Have you saw that video?
I have seen it, yeah, yeah. And even Einstein
Yeah. In
himself
that
said
video,
that, yeah.
Yeah, in that video, he showed something like that it is impossible to measure one-way speed of light also because of relativity. He showed something like that in that
Yeah,
video,
that's
I
what they
think.
say. They
And
say
that
because you
video,
can't synchronize the
yeah,
clocks.
yeah. That kind of video he showed, and that video was like when he published that video, then so many kind of scientists go against him that why you are still talking like these things, and even so many people started questioning like what kind of if no one has measured the speed of light, why still it is like a fact considered as a fact.
Yeah, so the thing about the speed of light is actually it's like just a rate that we perceive illumination. So yeah, it's
No,
not
but does
it's
the
not even a real thing.
illumination does the light travel in space or in ether? Because I have seen Jaren was some one day Jaren was telling something like that. No, the thing is there and it illuminates the thing opposite side. So he was kind of not sure that light travels or not
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
directly in space.
Jaren's my boy. He has his own opinion. Light. There's no evidence that light physically travels. All the evidence shows that
Yeah,
it's
but
already
I told him
there.
there are do you know that there are two videos on YouTube where even Walter Lewin also commented on that video where they show that we have filmed the light with the high frame rate cameras, right?
Yeah,
With
yeah, like the
the
really slow motion
yeah
camera.
and they filmed light beam there. So is that video like true or not?
Sure, it's a real video, but all it's showing is
So
the
light
light
is traveling, of course,
No, no.
in
It's
that
just
video.
illuminating. It's just like we're just watching it illuminate. So it's like if I stretched a rope across the room and then I move the rope
Yeah,
and then you start to see the rope look like it's moving, right? And it looks like it's going down the rope. How long did it take the rope to get to the other side of the room? It was already there. So we just saw it. We just saw what was already there move. That's what light is. Light's already there. We just see it get excited and
no,
light
but
up.
in that video they show like air is there, right? And when air light beam is going, then it is hitting the air particles and reflecting back, and we are capturing those things with the camera, right? And they are hitting one by one in a linear way, so it shows that light
Yeah.
traveling in a way, right?
It just shows that what's already there
Maybe
is
no
lighting up.
maybe that maybe those videos are fake because
No, they're not
if you
fake.
look them carefully.
I don't think
Okay.
they're fake, bro. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is that say I have if I throw a rock in like a pebble in a pond, and then it hits the water and the ripples go in all directions. Okay, like how long did it take the water to get to the other side of the lake? It was already there. It was already
Yeah.
there. Like we saw waves, but wave isn't a thing. We saw the water waving or moving. Waves aren't things, so it means something's moving. So if light is waving, what's moving? There isn't such thing as a wave. So it's just what's already there is being excited, and it excites at a roughly this consistent rate. We call it the speed of light. It's a rate of induction. We perceive it illuminate at a certain rate, and we assume it's traveling because we see it from the source of excitation. We see the ripple basically light up in the background pond that is the ether. Nothing's physically traveling from point to point, or there's no actual evidence of that. It's an assumption. We don't have a one-way speed of light. We have evidence of things going
I think
faster than the speed of
it's
light.
based on permittivity and permeability constants, right? When the c is the speed of causality, the formula is I think under root 1 upon mu naught dot epsilon naught, and that is like permittivity BNB. That is kind of formula that is like permittivity and permeability
Yeah,
that is
that's Maxwell's
those two
equations. That's where we
constants.
got.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Maxwell equation.
that's
And
where
Einstein
we
also
got it.
took
Yeah,
it from there.
yeah, because
Einstein also took it from that, right?
Einstein took everyone. Yeah,
So what is your
everyone's
opinion
what
about Einstein? Like Einstein is like everyone's hero. Like
he's an
5 years
idiot.
back, Einstein photo was inside my bedroom, but I
Yeah,
removed it when I rejected evolution in 2016. And I started questioning, like, oh, these things are just they are making up the things.
that's funny, bro.
So
Because when I was young, I had Einstein on my wall too. I literally had a room full of like famous people's faces everywhere, and Einstein was one of them. But so I guess, but what I mean, you seem to be capable of critical thought for sure. But like you still believe in the current model that says that we're like flying around the sun and stuff like that, because it just doesn't work, right? I mean, the main problem here is that relativity. This stream's about dark matter, right? The heliocentric model. If we assume the heliocentric model, we look out at the sky and we use gravity, it doesn't work at all. It's off by 99% of the galaxy clusters, 97% overall with dark matter and dark energy. It doesn't work at all. If the Earth is in the center, you don't have a dark matter or a dark energy problem. So that means that a geocentric model is way more viable, right? Like it's way more viable. It's not even close. It's like
yeah, I
a
think
blowout.
some things like hit me like things like, because like I'm not from Western country, so I don't speak English good, and also my knowledge is not that kind of, like your people have good knowledge. So the problems I find, like when I saw Copernicus, right, and Kepler's images, Galileo, they have that thing really in their hand. That is the sign of Freemasonry, the compass sign, right? So that things like that, like these peoples are the people who created the heliocentric model, and these are people, like people are saying that they are suspect of some kind of society, and I have also seen that kind of things. And another things, like when I asked, there was a dean of university, like a professor of physics professor. So I asked him, like at the time of Newton, how Newton know that the Earth is round, and he was not capable of answering it. So I tell him, what is the first time when everyone in the like the scientific community believed in a point that the Earth is a globe? Then he was also stopped. No, I don't know. So I told him, like, so when you got the first factor? So he say that the photographic evidence. So I saw, okay, so the photographs came about less than 100 years ago. So what about behind that? Like back then you was just believing that the Earth is globe. So they say, no, the ship goes down the horizon, this is the thing we are observing from thousands of years. So I say, no, this is like we are observing it only by eyes. So you know that it is, eye is also our one sense, and eyes make up things sometimes. It makes some deceptions. It is a perspective. Perspective sometimes we don't get the reality with by just seeing by the eyes. We need some uh like strong proofs. So that things also question started questioning me, and some another thing, like when it came to space, then when we saw, then we don't see, like when I always saw Jupiter at the evening, right? So I saw Jupiter, and Jupiter is so much bright. And how can a gas planet become so bright that is 1 billion kilometers away from the sun? Like sunlight is illuminating whole solar system. How bright sun can be? It's nearly impossible that it something that far away is illuminated by a sun, and its light coming reflecting us back, and we are seeing it so bright. Do you think it's weird?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, bro. But what I actually think is weird is that everyone believes that the Earth flies around the sun in a solar system, and that's just completely not true. And it's just it's all the other claims that come from that are of course insane, and of course don't work because it's built
And
upon a premise that's not true.
do you know that tidally locking is also not, or tidal locking is also not work in terms of general relativity? there is a flaw there, but people don't talk about that because me and my teacher once they were calculating, and we find that it doesn't match the general theory of relativity, the tightly locking orbital mechanics. And they say that moon is tightly locked towards the earth. That's why we don't see the far side of the moon, and that is also a thing. Like they cannot explain the tightly locking, and I think if the tightly locking is a made up thing, then in it is because there is no far side of the moon. Moon is like maybe another thing that we have never. There is nothing like backside of the moon. Yeah, and I
Okay.
wanna understand those things. Like, do you think that when sun goes, and the angular size of sun doesn't change? So on the flat Earth model, it doesn't make sense, but on globe it makes sense. And when we do observations, sun size it matches the globe Earth model. And is it due to some kind of like personal atmospheric dome? But the personal atmospheric dome concept is not like very well explained. The dome,
Yeah, so
right?
when we
So
say that it matches the globe model, that's how the globe model was made. Like it looked at the sun, it saw that it slightly changes size, that it slightly changes position, that it has an elliptic, and they said, "Oh, well actually it doesn't, and it's the earth that moves in an elliptic and the earth is tilted and the earth is wobbling and the earth is getting further away from the sun." So, of course it matches the globe model. That's how
yeah,
the globe model was made. But yeah, it does change angular size, and it matches a flat Earth
but
perfectly.
Witsit
It gets
another,
further away. You're saying why doesn't it change more? And then the answer is yes, because we have what
yeah,
people call a personal atmospheric dome or azimuthal grid of vision. We have a limit to our vision in all directions, and that's why we see the sun the way we do. We perceive it at that limit, so it wouldn't change angular size until it changes distance or altitude significantly, like it does throughout the year, and then you'll see a slight change.
yeah,
It'll still basically be perceived as a focal point. So, yeah, I mean, it all works on a flat Earth.
yeah. But
But
last thing from me, last thing I want to say that is it possible like there can be two models? Because when we model the universe or cosmos, if there is a flat Earth model and globe Earth model, two working models, both are very different. It is there is no possibilities like the observable things can match both of the models until when the creator himself put these things into account. Like he was creating a model, he was creating a flat earth, but he created a flat earth in a way where a globe earth model can also be explained, because there is no way like the globe, if the earth is flat, there is no way that someone can establish a globe earth model where the earth is moving around the sun and rotating, because if it rotates, then there is a like sidereal rotations, and 6 months back it is matching exactly according to the globe earth model. That's why we rotate around the sun, and our watches works. So, and our sky is
okay.
also like moving in a way. So is there can you answer that? Like, if the creator made it is in a flat, then how can there be a global model?
Yeah. So, um, there's a sidereal rotation, right? So 15 degrees per hour, roughly, and it moves around. The sky moves around us like a clock, and Jeez Louise. And that's really all there is to it. That they just took that, engineered it. The fact that it has an annual cycle is how they made the globe model again. So yeah, you take the rotation of the sky. You say actually the sky's not moving, we're moving. You take the fact that we have a limit of view. You take the elevation angles. You claim that we don't have a limit to view and we can see forever. And the only reason that things drop down is not because of perspective, but because we're physically on a curved surface, which is stupid and the opposite of all information or evidence ever. So that's how they engineered the entire model. They watched the cycle in the sky every day, sidereal rotation. They watched it every year, and then they made up a globe Earth model based on that. You can absolutely make a flat Earth a globe. The difficult part would be shrinking the south, because the Earth would be much wider in the south, and well, they've successfully
Mm.
hit that part. But the cycle of the sky is easily explained on a flat Earth. I'm not sure what you mean.
But but the people like they say that it is impossible on a flat Earth model to do celestial navigation. So I want to ask that is in the history when the mainstream heliocentric model was not came, a globe model was not came. So become that time in past, they were not doing celestial navigation, or they have some kind of books, old books where they doing celestial navigations and the model of the flat Earth. Because I also noted that back then people was mostly using the flat Earth geocentric model,
Yeah, I mean,
and
that's
they
how they
people
actually
also
navigated
try to hide it.
originally. That's how we mapped
Yeah,
the sky out in the first place. That's how we got the Cero cycle. That's how we navigated in the first place. That we used plane tables for celestial navigation as early as the 19 or as recent as the 1900s. Everything is done on a geocentric plane Earth. That's how
astrolabe,
we map out eclipses. That's
ast-
how we map out everything. What they do is they take how we see, and then they say, "Oh, actually, we can see forever in straight lines. There's no perspective to account for."
yeah,
And then they claim that what happens with how we see it's actually because the Earth is curving. So they made the model based on the sky, and it took a long time, by the way. It wasn't an easy thing to do. It took them a long time to try to fudge everything around and change it where it says now the Earth, and we're covering this Wednesday, now the Earth is supposedly it's tilted and it's wobbling three different ways. There's three different wobbles according to the globe. This is a good way to explain the whole situation here. They're like, okay, well, the Earth is moving around the sun. Then they saw, okay, well, look at where the stars are relative to the equinox and solstice. It's not matching our models. They said, oh, the Earth must be wobbling every 26,000 years. And then they started looking at the moon. The moon didn't predict the match the model either. It has anomalous and had discrepancies in the way that it moved. So then they added something called nutation, an additional wobble to it to fix the fact that the moon wasn't moving the way it was supposed to. And then they had an addition, that's every 18.6 years. Then they had another problem with how the stars were being perceived, and so they added this Chandler wobble, and they said that happens like every 435 days. They said there's three different types of wobbles happening in the Earth because the sky is actually just moving and doing its own thing over top of a stationary Earth. That's why they have to keep on fudging everything. And they say, oh, well, there's an ecliptic of the sun. Actually, that's because the Earth's orbit's an ecliptic. And they said the same thing about the wobbles. So that's the whole globe model and heliocentric model is just looking at the sky and making stuff up slowly over time to fix each discrepancy over and over. And now we're at the end of it where they've kind of seen all the discrepancies and made up a story for all of it. And now we have people saying, look, the globe matches all the observations. Like that's how the globe heliocentric model was made, though. There's not three different wobbles going on at the same time. That's physically impossible. That's just a made up excuse instead of admitting that your model's wrong. So that's just, it's a simple trick, but it's very effective. I think I'm actually going to wrap the show up early, though, because like Aaliyah's clearly upset. So do you have anything else you want to say?
okay, so yeah, I'm closing my argument with yeah, you're saying right, and flat Earth model really makes sense to me now because yeah, I have also observed the astrolabe, a 2,000-year-old astrolabe, and it is also working fine still. And another thing, like I was also a kind of atheist when I into science, but in 2016 or something, when I started believing that like our body is the most precise structure and it cannot be made without any intelligence, right? So someone was there who made all the things, and he will never make a heliocentric model where everything is accidental and infinite big. If he want to situate us, then he will make the thing Earth very bad, not the universe that big. So it doesn't make sense. Yeah, so flat Earth makes sense for me now. Bye.
Nice. All right. Yeah. Have a good one. Thanks for jumping on. I'm gonna shut the show down. I'm definitely not about to talk to Brenda. So cool, Aaron. Call on in the future. Leah's like upset, so I'm gonna, of course, just go ahead and end that. I'd rather do almost anything in the world. All right. Sorry, guys, but I'm gonna go try to help with Aaliyah. She's like upset. We got about 2 hours. I love you guys. Let me just like wrap this all up for you guys real quick. So, like I said. Relativity makes a prediction. It doesn't work. They keep changing it. Tune in Wednesday. We're going to cover how they just kept fudging everything with the wobble of the Earth and everything like that. And it's just made up nonsense. The theory is consistently wrong. It was off by 99% in 1933. Just swept it under the rug. Just kept it pushing. 1955, galaxy rotational speed didn't work at all. Just sweep it under the rug. Redshift anomalies don't work. The galaxy distributions in general don't work. None of it actually works. You have all this dark matter, dark energy. I had it pulled up on the screen for a while. I think I can maybe show it right. here real fast. So you have these huge discrepancies, like right here, 68.3% dark energy, 26.8% dark matter. Of course, 83% of all the matter in the universe is supposedly dark matter. Their entire model is made up, literally, they're sitting here telling you that like 97% of the entire model is an unexplained phenomena, two things that they just call dark because they can't see it, can't detect it, can't define it, don't know what it is, but it has to be there because if it's not there, their model's wrong. Okay, well, your model's wrong. And if you've discovered this and it's been almost a century, you still can't even come up with a theory mathematically as to what it is or show me any physical evidence or detect it at all. How about you just stop pretending that you know what's going on? You're in a religion. You should address this if you're an intellectually honest person. If your model was off by 99% of its prediction and then 97% of the entire cosmos is off because of dark matter and dark energy, you don't have a model. Well, where's Flat Earth's model? Where's the geocentric model? First of all, we don't have Earth models, but the heliocentric model, right? Like the idea that the Earth is a tilted, wobbling, spinning ball revolving around the sun in an ever-expanding universe of nothingness doesn't work. It objectively doesn't work. People want to say, oh, let's just talk about the solar system, it works here. Well, if you say that the Earth is in a solar system, then that means you have to make a prediction or a claim about it being inside of a galaxy, which means you have to make a prediction of the fact that you claim that everything's accelerating away from each other in all directions, and accelerative expansion. So it's all tied together. You can't isolate the heliocentric model. We're not 5-year-olds or we're like, well, yeah, my theory sucks and it's completely wrong, but look, it kind of got things right over here one time. That's stupid, and that's not in any way how any type of intelligent person operates. So long story short, sorry about the crazy nature of the show, just the way that it worked out, but I love you guys. We'll do a stream for Wednesday about the wobble. I found out that most people that believe in the globe don't know about it. Most even true earthers don't know about like really how insane the wobble lie is. I just broke it down quite a bit there, but just wait for Wednesday. It's going to be a good show. We'll also have a call in. I'll try to get the word out there preemptively, so we'll have a bunch of ballers that come in and actually are ready to call in. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy the show. If you want to be a part of Audit NASA, auditnasa.com. If you want to support the stream, links in the description. You got PayPal. Also, paypal.me/innerworld. You got $WitsitGetsIt on Cash App. I'll read them all off hopefully Sunday. I have like a lot of stuff going on. Sorry, like I'm like drowning in stuff to do right now. We also have our summit coming up. People should definitely catch this summit. It's going to be like arguably the dopest one. I mean, we have someone talking about electric culture, someone talking about terrain theory, someone talking about like the legal system and how to actually work it and get like legal and lawful freedom, and learning, informing yourself with the knowledge to do that. We have Old World Florida, just ladling gravy about like the old world that is America and all the information that was hidden from us, and even things specific to Florida. That dude just ladles gravy. We have Sean from Keyman Context. He's about to just make an incredibly awesome presentation about this gigantic big picture of this entire ancient story, the greatest story never told. Life is basically like a movie on this earth, and we weren't really told about it. His presentation is going to be awesome. We have Dr. Barr he's going to talk about electric culture, I believe. We have all kinds of incredible guests. I assuredly missed some right there. We have Santo Spinacci. We have all kinds of people bringing like A1 presentations. It's like a whole variety of things where if you go and you watch all those presentations, like you can literally like change your life. Like it's going to show you how to like beat the system all across the board. And whichever content creator you want to support, you go put in your their coupon code, and then we send them the proceeds. We just cover our expenses, and then we send them the proceeds from the ticket. We think it's like a good way to help everyone out. If you have a business and you want to be a sponsor of the summit or have your business promoted or logos on the website and an advertisement slot, all that comes with a little sponsorship deal. You guys can message me on Telegram or email me or message Jaron. We'll hook you up with a sponsorship. We'll have your logo and create a little ad, or you can create a commercial up to 60 seconds, play it a few times throughout the 2 days. You can also, if you have a business and you want to offer a coupon code for the summit, so you can get a bunch of new people to your, say you have merchandise or you have holistic products or supplements or whatever, create a little coupon code for the summit. It gets thrown in the virtual gift bag that comes with the ticket. With the ticket, you get a whole list of all kinds of cool stuff. So long story short, we have that coming up. It's going to be epic. It really is. I'm not just saying that. Like, we also have Foundring doing the music. If you haven't heard of him, go to Odyssey, check out Foundring. Absolutely crushes, hilarious. Like, had to get censored. He's like incredibly talented. We also have Crumb doing music the first day. So just very epic lineup of people with all kinds of like, it's like an incredible variety of people with a variety of things. We also have Don Lester and David Parker, who wrote What Really Makes You Ill. Probably going to ladle gravy about terrain theory. So very cool. Both summits so far have been fire. Thank you. This one is gonna be dope. TrueEarther.com. You can use Witsit 50 to get half off. So there you go. Go to TrueEarther.com. I'll drop the link in the chat. I'll also drop it in the description. That is the 23rd and the 24th. So we're like 2 weeks away. It's like right around the corner. We have Jay Dreamers also doing a presentation. Like, it's just epic. So here is the website. I'll drop in the description as well. Again, you can get 50% off. Make sure you get a coupon code, right? So you can put Witsit50, or you could put Jaren50, or you could put KIC50 for Kingdom and Context. Whoever you hear about the summit from and want to support, put their coupon code in. And there you go. If you want to just like support me and Jaren, you can put Save50. So Save50 or Witsit50. And that gets you 50% off. Make sure you put the code in there. You get half off. It would be insane not to do that. Okay. Very cool. David Parker and Don Lester are awesome. I agree. It's going to be a very cool summit. So, all right, cool. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Wednesday we'll have it really ironed out. So many moving parts going on. We have so much going on. Like as a family, figuring out all kinds of stuff behind the scenes right now. So I've been like really crazy busy. I'll inform you guys on some of the details here soon. It seems like Aaliyah may have chilled out now, but either way, wrapping it up. Thank you guys for kicking it. We'll have a dope call-in show. We're going to talk about the wobble of the earth. I'm trying to title each show now so you guys can look back and figure out what it is, instead of just being like, what show was he talking about? The azimuthal grid of vision. All right, cool. So hopefully you spend some time talking about flat earth properties and advancing flat earth. Conveniently, this is actually my channel, you know? And if you think that you can talk about flat earth better, why don't you could just make a channel, right? So like I'm actually starting an organization called Audit NASA, where we're putting together like an incredible amount of employees and attacking NASA from all angles, making a documentary that's fully like 4K and Hollywood level production, Netflix quality documentary exposing NASA, attacking them from all sides. Going to fully expose them to the masses to help wake tons of people up to the fact we're being deceived about space, and thus they fall down the rabbit hole towards true earth. I'm going to all these different big podcasts in the near future to talk about flat earth. I do debates on a regular basis about flat earth. I have a show every week called Schooling Globers about flat earth. I integrate flat earth into even this show, which is about heliocentrism, because some people need to wake up to the fact the earth's actually in the center so they can kind of like, you know, fall out of the deception that this model that they taught us that's mainstream is perfect somehow. If you think you can do it better, you could, of course, just go start a channel. I promise that some random anonymous person in the chat saying they don't think I talk about flat earth enough is not going to stop me. I'm actually probably going to start talking about a whole bunch of other subjects on this stream as well, because I don't in any way comply to what anyone tells me to do. If you wanted me to talk about flat earth more, the last thing you should do is complain about how you don't think I talk about it enough, because I'll just do the opposite sometimes. So anyway, I love you guys. It's all love. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. I did have a debate, modern day debate. I don't even know if it's worth watching because it was so bad. The guy was so ill prepared. It was just like humorous, honestly, but that was Saturday night. Cool. There is a whole bunch of recaps. Cool. All right. Working on a new song for Schooling Globers, working on a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, if you want to join the Telegram, that's how you can chat with us all. I'm thinking about integrating where we do like calls on there so we can all just kind of chat. Also, you can go to auditnasa.com, sign up to be part of that. All right, I love you guys. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. Could you please explain the whole universe and all of human history before you shut down the feed tonight? All right, I love you guys. That guy got absolutely worked over from every angle. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of sad. Almost felt bad. Yeah, so seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. Who cares what other people think? For all of history, people have attacked via mob mentality. That's just what weak-minded people do. But informed people don't care what ignorant people think. And whenever you are reviled for speaking the truth, just rejoice, because that means you're doing something right. That's happened to everyone, including all the prophets before you. Just understand it's kind of confirmation that you're on the right path. You're going to get attacked. And what's popular is not true, and what's true is rarely popular. So just keep speaking the truth. Until Wednesday night, I'll catch up with you guys later. Peace.
Relatively speaking, speaking. First day after the weekend. Relatively speaking. First day after the weekend. Mickelson Morley. It showed that the earth, they don't move, huh? What they do, shorten the length of the ruler. Hey, that's just how they fooled ya. Tune in Wednesdays, bet that we gon' school ya. Mickelson Morley, it showed no displacement. Nicholson, Gale, Pearson, it measured rotation. Let's break it down in layman. That means the earth is stationed. No planets and spaceships, they're all animations. Relatively speaking. First day after the weekend. Relatively speaking. First day after the weekend.